Okay, so now this has been sitting for a few minutes and I really didn't want it to dry completely. I just wanted it to get a little sticky so that it's on there, it's established, but it's still a little malleable. Because now we're going to emphasize the depth and the color with phthalo blue. This is one of my favorite. Phthalo blue is an incredible blue, bright, and in some contexts it can be almost turquoise, depending on how you use it. And it can also be very dark if you want to go that route. It's very versatile. All of the colors that I'm using kind of tend towards vibrant. Okay, so we have our glazing medium, just a little bit. Okay, and this is gonna be a little bit thicker. And what I'm gonna do with this is, I'm just gonna use the rag, and I'm going to just kind of emphasize some of these areas. Okay, you can really see how it pops a little bit, and it comes across as very dark, but very luminous. It adds a depth to the painting that I really enjoy. So we have our phthalo, and this is just adding another dimension, I guess. I'm kind of laying it on top of the Prussian blue and the purple that it created. In a lot of ways I'm using the glazing medium itself. And it creates, like if this were a flat painting, you would see almost a stippling effect because I'm not saturating the layer underneath. I'm just kind of adding a little something. And then see how it kind of brings out all of these crevices. Just kind of lay it on top. Okay, so we're doing that. Okay, and so I still want to, I think this is probably going to be the focal point right here. I'm not really sure at this point how that's going to present itself, but some of the areas that are starting to take shape, okay, are this area here is nice. This area here has a lot going on, and of course this here is really where a lot of the movement and a lot of the focus seems like it's going to be. So, already starting to evolve right in front of us. Okay, and I'm going to show you something that I see, interpret from that specific perspective, you may not be able to see very well. You can see this area. You see the nice deep purple, and then where that kind of faded out a little bit, you see the phthalo popping right here and bleeding into this incredible magenta. And so those are the kinds of things that we're looking for. Okay, so this is the second layer, and we are going to let this dry completely. Okay, and we're back. It's been a few hours and all of these layers are dry, completely dry. So the next step that we're going to take is we're going to apply the gold, and this is just another layer. So we don't need to be too careful about it because there are still several more layers that are going to be put on top of this. Right now it's pretty dark because we have magentas and we have the blues and the purples. So we're going to apply the gold to brighten it up a bit and also to provide a base to make some of those incredible opalescent, kind of very shiny, iridescent colors that will shine through. Okay, so the gold that I use, and I love this gold, this is just Blick Artist Acrylic, iridescent gold. And I don't use any glazing medium, any water, anything like that, because what I really want to do is just lay it on top. I mean, and it comes across as pretty opaque. So anywhere that I want it to brighten up a little bit, I'm going to apply some gold. So, and you can see how it pops already. And it looks pretty jarring at this point. Don't worry about that too much right now, because we're going to come back and we're going to play with it. And this really kind of adds a lot of shine and contrast to what we're doing. Okay, so don't be afraid to really get in there. A lot of the crevices, that emphasize these textures. Okay, so I have some areas up here I kind of want to play with a little bit more. And again, I mean, it looks like a lot. It looks like you're losing a lot of the color, but not really. And as we move forward, you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I'm talking about. Because a lot of these colors are going to come back. What we're really doing is we're just creating a base to create some pretty lovely iridescent mixtures. Okay, and I think here, I want to play up this area just a little bit. I like the way that the gold is on top of the netting, with everything kind of peeking in from underneath it. I don't want it to get too deep inside the netting, because then you lose a little bit. Okay, so now we have kind of the bones of what we're doing. Everything that comes on top is going to complement what we've already done. So we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start adding some very luminous, transparent glazes that are going to start interacting with these colors, and we're going to mix those glazes with some more opaque areas to give it some depth, but having this base gives us a lot of options moving forward in terms of what we want to do, because a lot of these areas are highlighted. You see a lot of the textures are really brought out here. Here especially is an area that I'm growing quite fond of, and into here and up into here. And so I'm excited about where this is headed. And so we're just gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna really start putting the finishing touches and making it more cohesive and more in tune with what I had in mind originally.